Today we're going to talk about the 18 warning signs of kidney damage that you can actually see on your body. I just want to give you some quick basics just so you know what the kidney does. Both of the kidneys are deep underneath your rib cage and they have a little adrenal gland on top of them, but they're not just filters. If you take a look at this, I don't know if you can see this. If you take a look at a little cross section of the kidney, you'll see that there's just a bunch of tubes that kind of go up and down and around. And each filtering unit of the kidney is called a nephron, with a super concentrated amount of little capillaries that are in this little bundle, this tiny little nephron, which is literally the size of a speck of dust. But if you stretch out all of these capillaries in these tubes, it comes out to like 1 to 2 inches each. And you have 1 million of these nephrons in each kidney. And the problem is, as you age, you start losing these little nephrons to the point where you don't necessarily feel any symptoms. Even at like 50% loss, your kidneys can compensate and actually start to enlarge. And you can have a lot of damage going on the kidney without really knowing it for some period of time. But I really want you to appreciate what the kidney really is. Or actually, let's just talk about what a nephron really is. It's the tiniest biological filter that ever existed, and it's super high energy. That means it has so much concentrated mitochondria because it requires a lot of energy to do what it does. Because literally per day, it has to filter 50 gallons of blood. Yet we only lose 1 to 2 liters of fluid every single day. So it's super efficient, and it's an amazing efficient recycler of amino acids, proteins, electrolytes, glucose. So it's very selective, very magical, super efficient. And as you really start to understand this kidney and how amazing it is, it might get you to think twice before eating that junk food because of what it does to your body. One of the earliest problems with the kidney that can be observed in the urine is protein in the urine. That means there's damage in this filtration unit and it's leaking fluid into your urine. And there's actually been a home test that you can get to pick this up. It's a test that measures albumin, which is the protein part, creatine ratio, and it gives you a measurement, okay? And you want that to be below 30 milligrams per gram to kind of detect what's going on way before other symptoms might exist. Because as you know, there's a lot of people that have advanced kidney disease in this country. A lot of them are on a waiting list for a kidney transplant, and there's just not enough kidneys to go around. And so then they end up in dialysis, which the prognosis for that is not too good. So there's different stages of kidney damage. You have stage 2, you lost 20% of the nephrons, stage 3, where you lost 60% of your nephrons, and then stage 4, you lost 85% of your nephrons. And at stage 5, which is the most advanced kidney disease stage, you lost almost all of your nephrons. You have like 5% left. So 95% of all those nephrons, those filtration units, are gone. So it's something to put on your radar just so you can actually identify if you have a problem with that. And I'm going to show you what to eat and what to do to reverse it. Because if you catch it in time, you can reverse it. But if you don't catch it in time, if you get into this later stage where there's fibrosis, I don't think you can reverse it. So the only solution is a kidney transplant. So what are some things that destroy the kidney? Well, at the top of the list, you have something called ultra-processed foods, which is a combination of refined sugars, refined starches, and seed oils, which makes up most junk food. And it's going to create inflammation. And then the body's going to compensate and try to heal and develop scar tissue. We also have more forever chemicals nowadays than we've ever had on the existence of this planet. It's called PFAS chemicals. And so we're bathing in a sea of chemicals. The kidney was never designed to handle that many chemicals. This is why it's super important to have a really good filter for your water and just to avoid these chemicals as much as possible. One of the biggest culprits for damage to the kidney is insulin resistance, which comes from consuming too many ultra-processed food calories. I've talked many times about that. And then even the side effect from medications, huge. There are certain antibiotics that just destroy the kidney. In fact, a lot of drugs not only destroy the kidney, but the liver as well because they have side effects and they're super concentrated and they're drugs. But what might be surprising to you is a low amount of vitamin D level will injure the kidney, which is interesting because apparently we need vitamin D to protect ourselves against inflammation. And when we don't have enough, the amount of inflammation is much, much higher. So there's a direct correlation between low vitamin D and kidney damage. On the flip side, the kidney has a special function of converting vitamin D to the active form. So as the kidney becomes damaged, you're not able to convert the inactive to the active vitamin D. And not to mention the liver too. There's no way you're going to have a really sick kidney and a really healthy liver. When one is damaged, the other one's going to be damaged. And so both the liver and the kidney work to turn this inactive vitamin D into the active form. So vitamin D3 is a bidirectional problem. So if the kidney's damaged, you can't make vitamin D. If you don't have enough vitamin D, it can create kidney damage. This also goes with magnesium. If you don't have enough magnesium, the kidney becomes damaged, which is interesting because you wouldn't think of a deficiency of a nutrient actually directly destroying the kidney, but it does. So the kidney really needs vitamin D and magnesium to protect itself. And also potassium. I didn't put that on the list because it's not as important as magnesium and vitamin D, but it's also important. Also, people that have low amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, chances are they're going to have high amounts of omega-6 fatty acids, which are the seed oils, which are very inflammatory. Not having enough omega-3, anti-inflammatory, and having too much of the inflammatory fats is very deadly for the kidney. And this last one is super fascinating. When you don't have a good amount of sleep, that alone can directly damage the kidney. And maybe that's because it alters your blood sugar. I'm not sure. But having enough sleep can be super therapeutic for your kidney. But now let's talk about the visible signs of identifying kidney damage. All right, let's go to number one, puffy eyes. The entire eyelids on the top and the bottom are just kind of, they look like they're swollen. That's an indication that the kidney is damaged, especially if it's in the morning. Number two, swollen feet. If you press into your feet or your ankles and it leaves a dent, that's called pitting edema. A lot of times that's a kidney issue. It could also be liver related, but kidney as well. Number three, swollen hands. This could be in your fingers. You can't get your ring on. You kind of bend them and they're like painful because it's filled up with fluid, okay? That's a kidney issue. Number four, sudden weight gain. That's not fat. It's fluid retention. Number five, foamy urine is a visible sign of kidney damage, usually protein in the urine. Number six, itchy skin. This is something that you can actually see someone scratching, and that would be indication of kidney, but it can also be a liver as well. Number seven, pale skin. When the kidney's not functioning correctly, your entire circulatory, your blood system is going to be off. And so you're not going to have that healthy glow. You're going to look pale and kind of sick. Number eight, dark circles underneath your eyes. That's kidney issues. Number nine, you bruise easily. This could also be a liver problem, but it can also be a kidney problem. Number 10, dark urine. I'm talking about more like a darkened amber type color. That could be a kidney problem. Number 11, blood in the urine could indicate kidney problems. Number 12, the output of urine is less. Number 13, constantly tired. Number 14, restless leg syndrome. Now this could also be a magnesium deficiency. It can be a problem with a lack of B1, but typically the actual reason for that is because the diet's so bad. And a lot of times people even are pre-diabetic at that stage, but restless leg syndrome is definitely a symptom of kidney issue, as well as muscle cramps, especially in the early morning. That could be a kidney problem. It also could be a magnesium deficiency, but like I said before, when you're low in magnesium, you can also have kidney damage. Number 16 is poor appetite. 17, bad breath. This can also be a liver problem because again, you're not filtering things out. You're building up waste. And then nail changes, ridges in the nail. That could also be a kidney problem. Now, if you have advanced stage 5 kidney disease, you need to be with your doctor and double check everything I'm saying as far as my recommendations, because that's a whole different thing and you have to be monitored. But let's say you're just interested in preventing a kidney problem. I'm going to give you some important tips. Have plenty of vitamin D and magnesium and phosphorus. But I just want to mention something about phosphorus. The real damaging phosphorus is the stuff in junk food like Coke and things like that, because that phosphorus is absorbed like 100%. It's a different phosphorus than you would get in other foods. Omega-3 fatty acids, like from cod liver oil, super healing for the kidney. And then also, you've probably been taught, don't consume high protein because that's going to destroy the kidney. That is not true. In fact, there's some interesting data on type 1 diabetics consuming plenty of fish and even dairy and improving the filtration rate of the kidney. It's the high sugar and refined starch and refined seed oils. And also this idea of salt. Salt doesn't destroy the kidney, but if you have kidney damage, you probably shouldn't load up with a lot of salt just because it can't handle that as an electrolyte to filter it out. So you don't want to overload it. Vegetables are great for the kidney. Green tea has been shown to improve kidney function. There's some hardcore data that zinc can actually help kidney function as well. And also a product called TUDCA, which has to do with improving parts of your cell to take the stress off the kidney from working too hard. So that's interesting. It's a type of bile salt. And curcumin in turmeric can actually reduce inflammation. So now that you know some of the symptoms to identify a kidney problem, the next most important thing to understand is what to eat to fix insulin resistance. And for that information, watch this video right now, this one right here.